Enugu State House of Assembly has introduced a bill to curb alleged excesses in agency and legal fees for tenancy agreements. The House explained that the bill was in response to growing complaints from residents about the rising exploitation of tenants and prospective tenants by landlords. The bill for a law to amend the landlord and tenant law, sponsored by the member representing Nkanu East State constituency, Honorable Okemba, underwent its first reading on Tuesday. Among other provisions, the bill seeks to regulate agency and legal fees by capping them at a maximum of 10%. It also aims to abolish the long-standing practice of caution fees charges imposed on tenants by landlords that are rarely refunded at the end of tenancy. Section 3, subsection 3 of the proposed law states, with effect from the commencement of this law and notwithstanding any provisions in other enactments, agent fees chargeable for procuring any accommodation in the state shall not exceed 10% for the rent payable by the prospective tenants. Similarly, Section 3, subsection 4 provides, no tenant shall be required to pay any further premium in acquiring accommodation except for a legal fee payable to a qualified legal practitioner for the preparation of the landlord and tenant agreement, which shall not exceed 10% of the rent. Once enacted, violations of the law will attract a fine of 500,000, a 6-month prison term, or both. I will want to start with you, Honorable Aterike, on this aspect. I would personally say that I'm a first-hand victim of a situation, tenancy agreement with landlord, at some point in my life. And then it was so bad to a point that there was a situation where I had to move out. And then I asked for a refund, of the they'll call it the caution fee situation, and there was no refund. And I'm sure several people have actually been involved in this kind of situation, because oftentimes you look at it and say, this amount is not really worth the whole stress you want to undergo. But it's a continuous thing that happens, and nothing has literally been done about it. For the Enugu State House of Assembly to come up to take this step, do you think this is a good one?
Yes, thank you very much. This thing has been a big problem over time because the taxation is high. The level of this renting is high. You see, most agents go as far as telling the landlords not to give houses except they pay, they come through them, which is not too okay. Now, before now, you can see where houses are empty. You go there, you meet the landlords, and they'll, okay, you need a house, come, this is how much I will take. And they will take, and you will be in. But today is not like that. Especially a case study in Port Harcourt, where most agents go meeting the landlords, telling them, don't give out the houses except I bring somebody. They even go as far as telling the landlord that the house is even more expensive than the normal rent they want to give, that they should increase the rent, the amount to be paid by the tenant, because in so doing, their agency fee and all that will increase. It is that bad. So it is not really a good one for that. The amount at which they tax people on this housing is very high. Now you see caution fee. You were just saying of something that happened to you of recent. It's so bad. Okay, you are leaving. The caution fee is supposed to be a money being paid in case anything should get bad. But you end up that leaving the house, everything is still intact, and they will not want to pay you back that money, which is not so good. It is not good whatsoever. So we are believing that the bill being passed by the Enugu state government is good, and we should go ahead and do that.
Okay, let's look at a situation like if we look at the economic state of the country as it stands. Most of these landlords have, most of them decide to renovate their houses, and some of them would give reasons with saying that the situation and the high cost of things that we buy to make sure that we maintain the standard that you met this house in, and they decide to increase a rent subsequently, let's say yearly, without the notice of the tenant, in that instance. Do you think it's a necessary thing that with the house is supposed to move to, stop that kind of incidents? Like I said, depending on the state of the economy and they decide to increase that rent, do you think this is also supposed to be a situation where there has to be an impulse fine on these landlords?
Ordinarily, before the landlord increases his rent, you have to let his tenants know.
Oftentimes, I've heard people say that we don't get informed about situations like that.
It's so bad. So how will he plan? The people living there are not just living there. They are workers, they earn money and they plan. So without planning, how do you expect me to pay my rent? It's so bad that it's not a workable thing, and it's not good to hear such.
Okay, thank you. Let me hold you on that. I'd love to get your thoughts, Michael, on this. I'm sure you have a lot to say concerning this. Please.
Yes. I think I want to somehow, in a way, thank Honorable Mba, who actually submitted this, and to thank him for had on his own contrasted the happenings within their state, and has come up with this idea. But again, I would also partially say no to him, in the sense that these houses we're talking about are being owned by citizens. Hello? Are being owned by citizens. How do I mean? You made mention about some of them rehabilitating this same building. You know the cost of things now in Nigeria, everything is high. The cost of everything in Nigeria, cost of living is high.
Yes.
Again, I am against the area where one unqualified, what they call them, agent will just come from nowhere. He's not registered. He's not either a member or body, whatever, of the estate management, whatever. I've not undergone any courses that have to do with that. Does not have license to operate. Why some persons just go to people who are within their neighborhood, who they feel are educated, for them to prepare the tenancy and landlord agreement for them. And this class of people are not qualified to do so. So to me, I think if you must do that, go back and register. Go back and register, and go back and ensure that you belong to these bodies that regulate whether the agent section or the legal practitioners who are supposed to be preparing that. Don't just be an ordinary person on the street. I think that's where the problem is coming from. The moment you bring this kind of people, you are also causing problems. Again, for the area of the tenants, how can you stay in somebody's house for a whole year? Like you have to stay, you paid your rent from this February, and you know that by February next year you have to renew your rent. It is when it's getting close to January next year that you start thinking on how to, look for a way to pay your rent. That is stupidity. Okay,
and for the Enugu State House of Assembly to curb that tenancy caution fee, do you think it's a necessary thing for the house to do, considering, like you stated also, and you agree to it, that the economic the situation of the country and the high rises are actually affecting everyone? For the house to cut down on those charges, do you think it's a necessary measure to take?
To me, it is not necessary, because they didn't build those houses for the owners of those houses. It is not necessary. But the area where I can consider it being a bit necessary is for the tenants not to be pressured. How do I mean pressured? In the area where you pay this caution fee you're talking about, what do they do with the caution fee? If you ask me, they don't refund them. Ordinarily, it is legally refundable, but they will not refund you. Can the agent give you back your agent fee? Now, that's what they have introduced that they call movement fee. Before an agent will take you to anywhere, you have to give that agent movement fee. Whether it's working, it's not working, they don't want to know. Some of them know that there is no house. They don't have any house, so they say bring a movement fee. And before you know it, you're looking for a house at Ada George here. Then before you know it, you see yourself at what they call it, Obibo. I have one tenant that is a sure bet. Before you know, you see yourself in Owere. So I think I want them to also look at that area where they would also sanction a little warning to those agents to stop that other practice of wanting to extort from someone who is looking for a house.
Okay.
It should go back to the old format where you see an open house, you can walk to the landlord and say, landlord, I learned that there is one vacant room here.
Okay.
Can I, and all that. But no way. Now an agent will come to you and tell you, sir, give me the key. An agent will padlock your house and go. If it is not through that agent, my dear, there is no way the house will be rented. So they should talk on that particular part, whatever they are doing as to enshrine it there. Please, I'm begging them to also consider this particular one.
Thank you so much in that. Thank you so much in that, Michael.